Yes. It's so good. When you're like you're so on something, you think to the point.
So, finding strength through vulnerability. Being vulnerable is strong. Being vulnerable is not being weak. Yeah. Today, morning symbol. Good morning.
Life is a dream. I'm reading. Yeah, it's so ample. Right for now. What is this? And it's to Sticky mouth and dark for him to reaching. Yes, it's keeping the world. We should miss the point. Please. Don't get this something. Okay.
Very good. Sorry. Good morning. Morning to the Lab with Keith and Friends. This is an explicit show. Yes, it is. Get those kids out of the room. We're talking vulnerability today. And hey, if you're going to keep the kids around, you want to remind them that to be a leader, you want to be vulnerable. That to win, you want to be vulnerable. That to succeed in life, you want to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is not being weak. No, vulnerability is being your true self. It's about leaning into things. It's about winning. That's it. Coming up today, today's show, Mornings in Lab, myself, Keith Billis, John Anderson, over there, C Marty Fitton, over there is producer Kristina Flynn. Coming up on today's show, we got center stage Robert Coe. We're talking vilifying employment. Hey, you got a job? That's awesome. Keep that job. Always gurus like, oh yeah, you gotta go be an entrepreneur. You gotta go get your own job. Fuck that, man. If you got a job and you love it, enjoy it. Lean into it, be vulnerable, and go and win the day. That's all we got coming. A deep dive. We got Adam House joining us today, finding strength through vulnerability, the beauty of living your true self with Adam House. And then today's first segment, we got AJ Zaglin joining us here for Mind Fuel coming up this morning in the lab at 8:47 after the lifestyle tip. And of course, we got the accountability check-in. We got the lifestyle tip. We got the C Marty fit tip. And of course, Kristina Flynn with the personal brand. And later on in the hour, we got the community check-in. And coming up at the end of the second hour, Shinku, you're like, hey, I want the show longer. Coming up at the end of the second hour, we got business and branding with myself. That's me. I'm Keith. Yeah, I'm this Keith guy, the white hat, the nice black gold glasses, all in black camel pants on. So when I do the stand-up, you will not be able to see my lower body. And before we describe what everybody else is wearing, why don't we bring him into the show here? Let's bring in Kristina. I'm going to do my desk cam. There we go. Let's bring Kristina. Let's bring, my buttons aren't working. Johnny, there. Let's go bring in John and Marty to the crew. There we go, guys. How are we today?
What's going down, baby?
How are we today?
It's another beautiful day.
This is another beautiful day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say.
It's another beautiful loop. It's another
beautiful.
Yeah, another day with no name.
That's exactly it. Another day with no name here in the lab. That's it. Hey, we got Kristina Flynn rock and rolling in the all black on black. We got Marty in the black. No brunches, less crunches. We're going to change it up. No brunches, no crunches.
No, I don't want to there. Because I'm sliding the brunch on a random Sunday every now and then. I know John going to kill me, but I'm going. I don't care what John got to do.
Listen, man, brunch food is great, man. You go in those things, you got plenty of eggs, you got plenty of meat. There's so many things you can eat at brunch. You just got to make the good choice. That's what
I'm not drinking mimosas there. I will say that. I'm not drinking
mimosas. There you go. You better not be. You're supposed to be leading by example, brother.
That's all right. Thank you. I needed your approval, though. Actually, I don't need your approval, but I'm glad to have your approval.
If we are leading by example, can I admit to Nation that I had pizza last night?
Oh. Come on, Brian.
Listen, I know I'm playing the role of all the average listeners. And I said to myself yesterday, I'm excited to come on the show today to tell John that I had pizza today. because John's going to rip me a new asshole. He's like, what are you doing, man? You know, you're supposed to be living the life of a business athlete. Nation, I am. I just had to have the pizza last night. And Johnny, buddy.
You had to have it.
Protein. I had lots of cheese, John. I had lots of cheese, brother.
Cheese is not protein. Come on, man. Come on. But here's the thing. I'm not saying if people love to eat pizza and that's if pizza is part of your big picture, pizza away, baby. I'm just saying that with what we're doing here, what you're trying to do, pizza is not part of your future.
Pizza is not part of my future. I understand that, Mr. Anderson, very much. But hey, we are out to make entertaining content for Business Athlete Nation. So I was like, oh, if I have pizza, I have now content for the show tomorrow morning that I can talk about with John, Marty, and Kristina. And
don't blame the pizza. Don't blame the pizza on that. That ain't right.
That's crazy, Kristina. That's actually crazy. I can't believe this guy.
You got content without the pizza. Don't even.
That's crazy.
So somebody's got to eat the pizza on behalf of the crew here. It was so actually, Marty,
hold on. Nobody's got to do anything on behalf of the crew. The crew is steadfast. The crew does what the crew needs to do to turn the airplane into a rocket ship. And let me tell you, if the pilot of the plane is having trouble keeping a hold of the joystick because he's got his other hand on a pizza, the crew's going to have to come and take the wheel.
Are we talking joysticks? I didn't know we were talking about mastering our domain.
We're talking joysticks. We're talking steering wheels. We're talking whatever it takes to turn this son of a bit into a rocket ship.
And listen, Keith, if you want me and John to just take over and Kristina, we'll just take over. If you can't lead us, it's cool. We'll just take over.
Because we talk about leading by example here. Come on, Daddy.
Sure. To turn into throw Keith under the bus in the mornings with Keith and Friends.
What else did you have with the pizza, and what was your drink?
You better not have been dipping that in some sort of heavy sauce.
Okay, so
I know you ain't drink water. I know you ain't drink water with the pizza.
Transparency. I had water with my pizza. Yes, I did, Marty. I had water. You'd with a little bit of flavor in it. No sugar though. No Kool-Aid. Just a little bit of water with some of that stevia sweetener. And that was it. Water, extra cheese, and crust. That was it. No meat, no vegetables, pure protein, Johnny. Just pure protein.
Stevia in the water. You believe that? I never heard of that. There must
here's the thing. When you find someone who's trying to justify their mistake, what else needs to be said? When someone, like when I make a mistake, you know what I'm going to say? I fucked up. I'm going to do better next one. It's it. It's over. I'm not telling you the details I fucked up unless you ask me.
That's what real honest people do, you know?
That is a lot of people. Hey, we got Raycon joining us here in the comments. Good morning, Raycon, and good to have you here. Good time. I'm telling you, man, the pizza was just full of cheese and sauce. Yeah, cheese, sauce, and a little bit of flavor in my water. And we got Fit presenter Mike McCullen joining us. Speaking of vulnerability, it's time to be brutally honest. Yes. Oh, no. Mike skipped last night's workouts off the gym. Hey, Mike, we know what we do here in the lab, right? We give everybody permission to begin again. Well, beginning again. So if we miss the lift, we just start again the next day. Hey, listen, I want to keep the show rocking and rolling today. We got a big show. We got Robert Coe joining us in a few moments. We got Adam Host joining us at the bottom of the hour. And we got AJ Zeglin joining us here today as well. So we can rock and roll through it. Guys, I saw something last night. I got a video I want to put on the screens here right now to show you guys. This just really made my brain go, oh. So what I'm going to show you is one thing. And you're going to go, okay, it's pretty cool. But then I'm going to invite you to think what it can be. Okay, so I'm going to show this to you. You're going to see what it is. You're going to go, okay, pretty neat, Keith. But then we're going to talk about what it potentially can be. And that's where your mind's going to go, holy fuck, man, that's craziness. So, Jimmy, I got the vertical. You got the horizontal. Let's rock and roll this, pal. Here we go.
Sure. In person. Question. So what can we see, guys?
His nose are.
We can't hear you, Chief.
All right, so you saw that, right? You can hear me now still? Can you hear me now? Yeah?
Yeah. The music trumpet solo and it's all the power in your voice.
You know what that is? Those are drones. So those are drones putting on an entertainment experience in China. Right? So let's keep watching. And I'm gonna ask your mind to go somewhere in a second. Watching.
On the team on the front of football. It's craving balls. Go back up. They are going to go. I'm not the one over the good here. So,
All right, so you get the picture. So I invite you to think about it this way. War. Think about every single one of those little gadgets with a bullet on them, with a missile on them. What you're watching is the future of warfare. So I want you to invite yourself, think about that. Think about the future of war. And it's happening in the Ukraine. And I'm not trying to blow over the fun here because it's a fun show, but I'm asking you to raise,
I was thinking this was the future of fireworks, man, not the future of war.
You're right. It's the future of fireworks. But on the entertainment side of things, all you need to do is take military machinery, attach it to that, and you can see what is going to quickly happen. So Marty, I can see your head shaking, but that's what I'm inviting. So when I saw the issue, holy shit, that's pretty cool. And I thought the same thing, Johnny. I'm like, yeah, that's an awesome experience around entertainment, like fireworks. But you start weaponizing that, and that is craziness, right? That's the Avengers type stuff. Marty, what do you think of that when you saw that, brother?
I got a lot of thoughts. I can't say them all, but let's keep it cool with China. I don't want any issues with China. That's all, let's keep it cool with them.
Yeah. Dina, what did you think when you saw it yourself?
I had seen that video and I knew they were drones and I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective. But to me, the conversation that always needs to be had, technology is so fun. There's so many great things that we can do with it, but we're not thinking about the ways in which some people, not the majority of the population, but a very few amount of people will weaponize that technology to their advantage. Those are conversations we need to have.
It is, right? It's just, to me, it's just this idea of how technology is weaving itself into everything. And John, coming to you, brother, I'm glad you said what you said, because that's exactly it. We're seeing fireworks around the world being changed into these drone experiences. And what are fireworks? They're essentially bombs. They're essentially missiles, right? Packaged up as fireworks. The same kind of this idea of let's entertain ourselves as blowing things up in the air. And now we have these drones that are going to shoot people from around the world. It's like the Avengers, Johnny.
Yeah, and this is actually a really interesting opportunity to talk about the fact that there's so many things that go on in our world that are so out of our reach of things that we have anything to do with, things that we can control. And this is one of those things. So if you're a listener and you're going, oh my God, your butthole got tight because we talked about turn this into a war versus fireworks, I get it. But just take a deep breath and remember that the quality of your life has to do with the quality of your thoughts. So if the thought of this turning into a war gets you all bent out of shape, go back and think about the fireworks. Let your brain relax a little bit, continue on with your good day. Because, granted, this is freaky shit, yes, but we're not here to put you in a funk for the day either.
That's right. We're here to enlighten you, empower you, and give you some things to think about. And as Johnny said, it's entertaining. Next time you're out watching these drone fireworks, enjoy it in front of you, knowing in the back of your mind, it could be craziness, just like the fireworks that we got popping up every single day at every celebration around the planet. But hey, we're going to slide off for this. Good morning, So Young. Good morning. Good time. Shelly K. Spence. What's going on today? All right, we'll get the accountability check-in. Let's get Johnny off stage. We're going to come back with Robert Coe. All right, guys, let's do this. Here's something for you. The strongest person in the room is not the one with all the answers. Nope. It's the one who's willing to say, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. In high stakes moments like closing a deal, Robert Coe, or leading a project, Kristina Flynn, most of us default to faking confidence. Yeah, it's true. We're like, I got imposter mode. But the real power move, it's vulnerability. Yes, it's vulnerability. Lean into that. Here's why. Here's why vulnerability is your true superpower. It diffuses tension. It creates space for support. It allows for course correction. It makes you relatable and builds trust. I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, I'll be vulnerable right now. It took me a long time to realize this. Oh yeah. Yep. True story. Vulnerability, it shows confidence. It doesn't show weakness. No way, man. It says I'm not perfect. No, but I'm adaptable and I'm open to feedback. So trust me, life is so much better when you let go of that ego telling you that you have all of the answers all the time. So listen, somebody ask you something today and you don't know the answer. I don't know. I'm going to go find the answer. Immediate trust is being built with that response. There's your accountability check-in right now, every single day. We drop it for you guys, give you something to consider as you move through your day. All right. We got Robert Coe joining us here. Mornings in the Lab, Keith and Friends. What's shaking, Roberts?
Hey, how you doing, man? You good?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for
What's up,
joining.
Rob?
No worries, mate. Good to see you guys.
Yes,
Good to see you.
absolutely. So we are here to talk about a big topic. So let's set it up, Marty. Robert Coe is a seasoned business owner, expert in B2B growth and sales. Marty, this dude is, I saw a post yesterday about sales online and people are like, oh, HR, everything. Not without sales, you got nothing. Without Robert Coe in your organization, you have nothing. Robert has a co-founder of over 40 marketing platforms, including the UK's #1 B2B trade website, Find the Needle. He's passionate about helping UK small businesses thrive through the work at Bizola. And with 25 years of experience, Robert excels in building high-performing teams, client empathy, and delivering strong ROI. Now, Marty and John, I saw a post from Robert last week, and it leaned into this idea of the vilification of employment on LinkedIn. It seems unless you're a self-made entrepreneur or unless you're chasing this dream that people want to vilify employment. And in the post, Robert challenges the narrative seen frequently on LinkedIn that glorifies employment. And he emphasizes that regular employment, Marty, John, should be celebrated, not condemned. I know, John, you had your path. Marty's got your path. I got my path. But it's not for us to judge what others want to do. Coe argues that employment provides stability, satisfaction, and success for millions and highlights the negativity that often spreads through viral posts about bad bosses, office work, and self-employment. Robert, let's jump into this, man. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you have a job, man. It sucks to be you. You should go be an entrepreneur." Robert, what drove you to write this post?
To be honest with you, mate, I think LinkedIn is a weird platform. You get saturated with posts on your feed all the time. And what you end up seeing is patterns over and over again. And I think I probably read one too many bad boss posts or one too many freedom is entrepreneurialism posts that my brain snapped. And I was like, this is ridiculous. There are myths out there, right? And I want to dispel a couple of myths right now. One is one of the ones I keep reading is if you want job security, be your own boss, right? If you want real job security, be your own boss. This is the myth that gets plastered all over LinkedIn. 90% of startups fail, right?
Yes.
So if you want job security, the worst thing you could is do a startup because your job security rate is going to be less than 10% if your startup makes it. So actually it's just a false message. And I love entrepreneurs. They're my people and I absolutely adore them. And I think what they do is amazing. But this narrative of like real job security comes from being an entrepreneur is just flawed. It's like massively flawed. I think if you've got a good job working for a good corporation who look after you, you enjoy it, which is huge, that should be celebrated. I very rarely see someone actually posted this morning in my community about how happy they are in their job and how grateful they are to the company they work for. And everyone on their feed was like, oh my God, this is so good to read this. I can't believe it. People don't say this enough. And I just thought, that's it, man.
It is.
Why is this not celebrated more? You know?
Yeah. Johnny, what are you leaning to, brother? Yeah, so I think I totally agree with you. The idea of job security or whatever the saying was, is being an entrepreneur. I think that's very misunderstood. At least the way that I view this is your security is you. If you've got the skill set, if you've got the mindset, you've got the habits, whether you get a really good job or you have success as an entrepreneur, your security is you. And people just don't get that. It's your self-improvement. It's what you do every day to make you better than everybody else on the market.
Yeah. Robert.
Yeah.
Marty, sorry.
Marty, go, mate.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add, we talked about this before, but do what works for you. Some people need to go the job route. Some people can hop right into entrepreneurship and it works for them. Myself specifically, I wish I would have started with a job and then moved to full-time entrepreneur after that. But go ahead, Rob.
No, I think that's exactly right. And I agree that we are in control of our own destiny. I think what happens is with LinkedIn, there's an awful lot of peer pressure that happens. And it's okay to speak from a position of having made something work or be successful or had an exit and made lots of money. But that's not the reality for most people. And what happens with peer pressure is they suffer in a situation for a long, long time, way too long, arguably, because they think it's weakness to switch from entrepreneurialism into the workforce. Whereas actually, sometimes that is the best move at that point. Maybe you do need to just step back and actually we can be our own worst boss in many cases in entrepreneurialism. If our business isn't working and we keep banging our heads against that wall because everyone's telling us, grind, push on through, get through this, tough times, you can get over these tough times. Sometimes the business is broken and it's not going to work. And I just think peer pressure is dangerous on here. And I think for people that are struggling, it should be said that a move into employment isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. And Keith, thank you for putting me up next. You could see me. I was going to go in no matter what. So I think of it like this. The idea of a job or being your own boss or an entrepreneur, it's different flavors. Some people like apples. Some people like oranges. So if you've got a job, if you like the idea of having a job and you enjoy your job, then you have found the right place for you. And just because other people say, oh, you got to do this. Oh, they don't know what you want in your life. You do what works for you. And so anybody that's saying having a job is the shits, and keep in mind, when I reference having a job and what I say, it's referencing the people that can't wait until Saturday because they don't have to go to work again.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that go to work or go to their job that really enjoy that. They don't have the Sunday, oh shit. For those people, you got a rig, let's go.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to add this too. Me and Keith talked about this yesterday offline. Everyone has this glamorous entrepreneur life, but if it's so glamorous and you're doing so well, why is it 100 of y'all in my DM trying to convince me that y'all going to level up my business and level up my online coaching and clothing business? If it's so great, why are y'all hounding me? And then they just keep sending them, talking to themselves in my DM. So that's a prime example there that it's not all it's cracked up to be.
It's a massive internal economy though, C Marty. That's the thing with LinkedIn. It's a huge internal economy. So entrepreneurs need entrepreneurs on LinkedIn because that's a money source, right? So to tell people that entrepreneurialism is the only way or the best, and it is often the best way, by the way. I'm not going to say it isn't because I think it still is the best way. I think it is ultimate freedom, really. If you
But hold on a bit, Robert, hold on, because I think to Johnny's point, to Marty's point, Marty, if I come with you here, Rob, I think that, so I don't disagree with you, Robert, but I don't know if it's up to you and I and Marty and John to determine that. Right? Hey, pal, you and I are old enough, and Johnny, we're old enough to know better. We're not going to tell somebody what to do. And we're all like, hey, if that's what works best for you to have a good job, like Marty's like, hey, man, I wish I would have had a job before I chased entrepreneurship. Younger Keith would have judged that. But now I'm like, no, you know what? If that's what's going to work best for you and it's going to help you and your family achieve the dreams and goals you want to go after, then damn it, go after it. And then when you fall, I'm going to catch you. I choose the entrepreneur route as Johnny. But man, I've had a job and there's days like, fuck, I like that paycheck every 2 weeks. Yeah, I like that paycheck. And hey, there's days I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking sleeping tonight. I don't care because I got a job. Right?
I think John's right. I think John's right. Sorry to interrupt you, Thea. I think John's right with what he said. I think it's a personal thing. And I think if you find the problem, and again, it all comes back to you saying what prompted me to do that post. What prompted me to do that post is I feel empathy for people.
Yes. Okay.
So when I see entrepreneurs struggling and I know they're reading their feed and I know their feed is basically telling them constantly to I want to just say, hang on a minute, talk to a few friends, talk to people close to you who might say, this isn't working, but you need to take a step back. And I've got loads of friends in employment who have gone from shop floor to boardroom, who have had an awesome career and they've earned a lot of money and they've been very successful. I've also got a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs who I think what John said is personal. It's just being your best self. And if you're certainly working and you're dreading Monday morning, then hell, that's a time for pivoting anyway. Actually, interestingly, that's a time to pivot if it's your own business as much as if you're working for someone else.
And that's it, brother. Like one of my big things is my claim to fame's never had a job, but I was also influenced by people who didn't like their jobs.
Yeah.
And if I had been influenced by a whole bunch of people who just absolutely loved what they did in their jobs, I might have seen it differently, but the goggles that I had on was, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And for me, it was a very clear choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much my experience. I've seen a lot of people just hate their job and do what they do. Mm-hmm. That's why I jumped in early. And to piggyback off of what we mentioned earlier, Rob, I didn't get to respond. This isn't just on LinkedIn, all the harassment. This is every platform. Mm-hmm. On Instagram, X, LinkedIn, freaking everything. So it makes me think that a lot of people are really faking what they're talking about when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yeah, well, I still agree it's the best way.
Yeah, and I think, Marty, to your point though, pal, is that you said it best, right? It's on all platforms. We need to pay attention to who's the messenger. So when you're reading a post from somebody who's either vilifying employment, see who the messenger is.
see the message they're putting out because they're probably trying to sell you something on how to be an entrepreneur. Because to Robert's point, these entrepreneurs, right? So, hey, I can help you be successful at winning on LinkedIn. When in reality, I'm just going to tell you how to write posts to do the same thing I just taught you how to do, right? So I think we need to be very clear on who the audience is making the recommendations that are poo-pooing employment, and see who the messenger is before you decide on if you're going to believe it.
Yeah, don't vilify either way is the key.
Yes.
Yeah. To vilify either method is wrong. Especially, it's okay to have strong opinions, but to say that this is the wrong way to do it or that's the wrong way to do it, again, going back to something John said that resonated with me, which is the whole thing about it's personal and it's what works for you and it's and the Sunday thing is a great point. I just think vilification for profit is it's a dangerous path, and it can get into people's heads that are perhaps in a job they enjoy or in a business that's failing and pushing too low in a business that's failing.
Johnny?
And the thing now, too, is you see social media. Of course, we know we're looking at everybody's highlights, not their everyday life. That's what people post. It's the entrepreneurs that are posting all the shit, the jets and the boats and the cars and all this shit. And then the guys with the jobs, granted, I'm sure there are guys that have just amazing jobs that are doing that too, but it's the way that it's presented.
Yes.
On social media as an entrepreneur. And the crazy thing about it is in entrepreneurship, man, you can be sky high one year and you can be bottom of the barrel the next. And if you don't have the stomach for that, like for me, if I get bored, I cause myself a lot of trouble. So I need to be in a position where I'm constantly problem solving, because it almost reminds me of like my pit bull. If I don't give them something to chew on, they're going to chew up the furniture. And so I'm the same way. You got to put something in my mouth. You got to let me
solving the wrong.
That's it.
Wrong problem.
You 100%. So you got to keep. I got to be chewing on something, baby. So entrepreneurship is perfect for me, because even if I've finished everything needs to be done, there's always something more to do, and I'm chewing on something positive. So for me, it was perfect.
Awesome. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, C Marty Fitton, and our friend Robert Coe here. We're talking vilifying employment here, and we're wrapping up our chat here today. Hey, listen, nation, if you got a job, enjoy it. If you got a job, go and win it. If you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, it's fucking hard, man. It's tough. If you want to go start a business, I would invite you to go and run a marathon, go climb a mountain, go do a bodybuilding competition first. Go and do something with your body for 100 days, 150 days, and then decide if you're enjoying that, whether you want to go into business. Because trust me, it's probably harder than what I just suggested. If you got a job, enjoy it, lean into it. But if you don't have a job and you're like, God, you got to go be an entrepreneur, maybe you don't. So there's our conversation today. Stop vilifying employment, stop vilifying non-employment, and just do what works best for you. Robert, thanks for joining.
We just got to say, stop vilifying. How's that?
Yeah, I think that's it, man. That's exactly
it. That's it. Robert, thanks for joining us here today, brother. You come back again, man. I love it. Listen, nation, you go find Robert on LinkedIn. The guy's the ultimate sales Jedi on LinkedIn. Robert Coe, you're a good man, my friend. You come back and hang out with us anytime. It's time for us to move to this, which is the C Marty Fit Tip. Robert, have a good one, brother.
Thank you, Robert.
No,
all right, Robert, have a good one, man.
We're going to do this. Boom, boom.
All right, let's get it.
Come on, man.
Fitness tip for today. All right, if you want real results, I got 5 workout rules for you to live by. First one, be consistent. Results don't come from what you do occasionally. You don't come in the gym one week and you did 2 days. Now you skip the next week. Then the following week, you did 5 days. That's not how you're going to get results. You got to be consistent. If you're doing 4 days a week, I need that throughout the whole year. If you're doing 5 days a week, I need that throughout the whole year. Maybe slip up 1 week because life happens, stuff gets in the way, but I need consistency, all right? Number 2, focus on form. Perfecting your technique matters more than heavy weights, especially my fellas. Get out of here with the ego lifting. You look crazy and you're probably going to get hurt, okay? Proper form prevents injuries and maximizes the effectiveness of every movement. What you don't want is to get hurt. Now you can't come to the gym. And now your results that you got are going away. And now you're gaining weight, losing muscle, whatever it is. Number 3, progressive overload. Gradually increase the intensity, whether it's weight, reps, or time. Your intensity should increase if you want to continue to get results. If you go in there and do the same thing forever, you're going to plateau. Number 4, rest and recovery. Gains happen when you rest. Me and Johnny talk about it all the time. You got to sleep. You got to take some off days, take some active recovery days, whatever you need to do for your rest and recovery. Make sure it gets done consistently. And number 5, nutrition is key. You can't out-train a bad diet. You can't eat bad for a month. Run every day, lift every day, and expect to get serious results, all right? That's the 5 workout rules to live by that are going to get you the results that you need, and that's the fitness tip for today.
Can't have pizza 5 days a week, Marty, and outrun my bad diet without its element.
No, that's not happening.
That's not going to work, eh? All right, coming up here in the lab here, we got our friend. Oh, check out the music, Marty.
You? Heroin.
Is joining us here. Marty's in the lab.
What's up? How you doing, brother?
Hey, Adam, how's it going? You can't shoot bricks today, Adam. No bricks.
You know, I'll tell you what, if my audio is not working, I'm not coming on the show again. So I'm the
Your audio is money today.
Adam, good to have you here, brother. And listen, I owe you a phone call. We chatted last week, but I've been actively building a show because, Adam, since you were on last week, we've taken this airplane and ignited into a rocket ship. Our show last Thursday is approaching 2,000 people hanging out watching our show here. We had 1,000 people show up for the show last week live, and the show just keeps living, going off and taking a life its own on. So I apologize I haven't had a chance to give you a call back, but I'm glad to have you here today. Adam House, the CEO of House of Bricks, the ultimate entrepreneur advisory forum over on LinkedIn. You can go find Adam there and check things out. But we are here to talk today about facing your living truth. It is this whole idea of using vulnerability as strength. Adam, we often think of vulnerability as, oh, you're being a suck, man. You're being vulnerable. No, being vulnerable is being strong. Research shows, Adam, that 70% of leaders believe that vulnerability signals weakness. Yet 76% of employees report higher trust in vulnerable leaders. Adam, vulnerability affects team dynamics and leadership styles, often creating strong yet more empathetic connections. Talk about why you decided to lead the conversation today and in the week at House of Bricks around vulnerability and why it's important to you as not only a leader, but as a dad to your 50 children. I'm joking, to your 5 sons. What are you 50 out there? Why vulnerability, Adam House?
Well, first of all, I think you said about 5 things that I wanted to comment on there. The first thing is the truth, and I know this is so cliche, it will set you free. Now, when we tell the truth, it may close one door, but that door that closes, how many times in life have you wanted something and did not get it? But if you compromised and got it, you would have never reached your full potential. So vulnerability is actually this authenticity thing. I love it, but it's also being misused. It's just another form of manipulation. Like people are like, oh, I'm so authentic. You have to trust me. That we all have an agenda. The line between us is good and evil. It's the same in everyone. So I think it's a balance of recognizing who you are, who you're trying to be, and what compromises you're making. And we all do it. We all do it. But what we say and what we think is what we become. So if you are thinking and telling lies and living a lie, then you will never experience the truth in your own life.
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, I so agree. You got to let your shit hang out and find out what the truth is about your shit, so to speak. Because once you know what it is, then you know where to go. When you're constantly sugarcoating yourself and oh this and oh that, you never really have a good foundation of what you got to do. And so I think just being brutally honest, and if someone asks me a question I don't know, I'll tell, I don't have the answer to that, but I will make sure that I get the answer and I'll get back to you. But the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compromise who I am or my integrity, my word, by trying to give some answer that doesn't hold water. So I think that just being brutally honest, it's probably one of the most powerful things that an entrepreneur can have.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I was trying not to laugh because you're like, let it hang out. Who knows if I even have pants on right now? So
I don't have any pants on. I've never one time wore a pair of drawers to this show.
Justina. I get to my last episode anyway. I want to go out with a bang. So people are interested.
Why are we so scared as leaders to be vulnerable though? And why are we so scared to say, I don't know? A lot of people just don't. It's like somebody asks a question. Our first reflective reaction is never to say, I don't know. But John's, yeah, I'll just fucking say, I don't know. People want to hear, I don't know. But yet our natural reaction is not to say that. Yet it is such a powerful statement to make of vulnerability. And immediately it's the person across me who's going to go, oh, I like this guy because he's been honest with me. But Adam, we don't do it. And let's talk about our boys. I got young children, 17, 14, and 8. I teach my kids to say, I don't know all the time. Adam, do you talk about that with the boys?
I do, except I'd phrase it differently. And even when I do know, and this is a part of leadership, fatherhood, marriage, really anything in life, you can say, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's a collaborative effort. So even if I do know, but I'm going to help my team that I'm leading to be a part of the solution. Or I ask them, what have you thought of that make you think works, right? Putting it back. So making it engaging and helping them be a part of the solution.
Yeah. Marty.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, Johnny, you didn't say your favorite phrase in that whole thing. You didn't say pull your pants down. But anyway,
I got so many favorite phrases, man. Sometimes they just don't get to me in time.
hey, I was waiting for it, but I wanted to say one thing about being vulnerable. What helps me is I realized that somebody who's more successful or somebody who I'm trying to emulate, they went through the same thing I went through, more than likely. So whether I know their story or I read their story or heard it on the podcast, I can confidently assume that this person went through some hardship, they went through some trials and tribulations, and that helps me be honest and embrace whatever hard times I'm going through. So don't be scared to be vulnerable.
Yeah. But now the flip side to that, so here's the flip side, guys. Okay. So here's the flip side. Being vulnerable often can lead to decision fatigue. It can also lead to people thinking that you're wishy-washy. Can lead to thinking that, oh, Adam can't make a decision because he always says, I don't know. What's this guy? Like, come on, man. He's just too soft and vulnerable. Right. So what do you say to those people that are like, oh, like, why isn't this guy being tough and shoulders out and confident, knowing the answer to everything? Like, he should know everything. I don't want this openness, this soft and fluffiness. How do we respond to those kind of people, Adam?
How we carry ourselves, right? And in the preparation, John and Marty, you guys were in the gym. Sorry, Keith, I left you out there. He's been to the gym, I think. They have tanning there and massages and all that. Sorry, man. I don't mean to.
Yes, it's a little Keith under the bunk show.
I know, man. I'm going. This is my last time. What I'm saying is those guys in the gym, right, that just carry strength. You got the guys out there slamming weights and all, look at me, how great I am. But like carrying a quiet confidence can be done in leadership without having to tell everybody what to do. But also, I think men in general have gone way to the other side of vulnerability and softness, right? Wake up, work out, go to work, be tough, be aware of your emotions, have self-awareness, but you got to turn that awareness into action. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're missing right now. Humans always swing from one side of the pendulum to the other. I think we're way too soft as a generation right now. Great times, create weak men. And we got a bunch of weak men out there that need to stand up, take leadership of their families, their business, and start making an impact. So I'm worn out of the vulnerability a little bit because I think it's being misused.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, a leader is not expected to have all the answers. A leader is expected to do what everybody else won't do to get the answers. And I think it's come to, you're a leader doesn't mean you don't have it all. That means you've made a habit out of doing the shit that everybody else won't do to get the answers. That's a leader.
Yeah, that's exactly what a leader is. It's saying, I don't know, and then either finding out the answers, delegating it to others, but taking ownership of that I don't know response.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the shit that everybody else won't do to get that answer. That's the leader.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Adam, I'm appreciative of your comments, or I'm tired of this vulnerability thing. Are men becoming too soft? When we created the show, it was to try to find a balance of what I think has gone where we've maybe become too misogynistic and just maybe too far of hardcore men. I like offering up the alternative side of vulnerability and emotion and so forth. However, I do agree with you that feelings and emotions and all that we can put on the table, but at the end of the day, we still need to own the problem as a leader. We still need to own the challenge as a leader. We still need to own the opportunity as a leader and use whatever tools you need to be that leader that you are. But go ahead, Adam. Yeah.
No, I'm just going to say what you said's absolutely spot on. And I know we've all seen the movie Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Where Matt Damon is in the office with Robin Williams, and he's like, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." And they're like crying together. And I never blame other people for a situation because it gives them power. If I start saying, "Hey, it's so-and-so's fault," that gives them a power over me. So if you take responsibility and ownership for everything that happens to you, you're in complete control of your life. So no more crying and saying, "It's not my fault." It is your fault. Own the situation. Your feelings are not facts. But I will give you a caveat. Do not say that to your wife or get ready to duck for the frying pan. Feelings are facts. They are programmed differently. It's not a sexist comment or whatever. I'm sure there's science to support it, but women do run on emotions, which is great. We need that broad better in our life. But as men, our feelings are facts. They're strong.
Yeah, exactly. Adam House joining us here this morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, C Marty Fitton, producer Flynn here. We got Robert Coe, who just was on for our center stage, coming with a comment saying vulnerability is being misused for sure. Humility is not vulnerability. Oh, said Robert, isn't that true? One is honest, one is fragile. Man, I love what Robert has to say. We just need more humility and honesty. Adam, the difference between humility and vulnerability.
I just posted this, was it Sunday night, and it was Ricky Bobby saying, I wake up in piss excellence. So that would be on the side of ego, but that's how I feel every day when I get my LinkedIn done. But it's just confidence comes from doing the small things every day consistently over time. That's the confidence. And people are attracted to that. Ego is when you have to tell everybody what you did and how great you are. So work, be confident, but don't be an ass.
That's it. That's it. Adam, thanks for hanging out with us here today, pal. Listen, the tech work, the conversation was great. We hit all of our marks. You keep saying this is your last day here. I'm hoping that it's not, but maybe that's your plan. I don't know, but I'm hoping we're going to see.
No, man.
I know. I hope.
Hey, Adam, no bricks today, Adam.
No, hey, that back there. I'm practicing every day. So,
all right. Adam Jones is here every week on Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern time to talk topics out of the House of Bricks. Adam's got a wonderful entrepreneur advisory firm. You can find Adam on LinkedIn. If you're an entrepreneur looking to get started, you need advisors, you need help, you need somewhere to get yourself moving. You start your day with our show, and you go log into Adam's platform, and you get surrounded by a bunch of great leaders. Adam, final word to you today, pal.
Yeah, final words is, again, I say this every week. This is my favorite show. Love being a part of it. You guys are killing it, watching the growth. You're making an impact in men that are going to change a generation. It's not just about business, but life and full transformation. So keep doing what you're doing. I know it's a grind, but keep building brick by brick.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Adam House. We love having you here in the lab, my friend. You have an awesome day and go and get it, man. And
Thanks, Adam.
Keep posting those provocative stuff you post out there so we got good things to talk about. Okay, brother?
Thanks, Adam. Good to see you.
Take care, Adam. Adam House is joining us here. He's out of the lab here today, guys. And we got coming up here AJ Zeglin in a minute, but John Anderson's coming to Lifestyle Cheaper. But quickly here, we got Cosmic Vision here. Morning, guys. My routine's becoming a lot more normal. I feel great. Keep doing what you guys are doing. Guys, we got Shinku Gul. We got Cosmic Vision. We got Good Time. We got That Great Plumber, John Marty. We got regulars showing up every single day because of the work that we are putting in. John Marty, we get up every single day. These guys are like, hey, are they on? Yeah, we're on. 8 o'clock Eastern time to help you guys achieve your goals. And listen, we're not just doing this so you can sit around. Get up and get moving. This is a mobile show. It's on your mobile phone, vertical. But yesterday, Marty and John, I launched a brand new playlist on our website. It's the Lean Back and Watch experience. We create the show also horizontally. So in the day and the evening, you're like, I want to go fucking sit back on the couch and watch the boys chitter chatter, get at her. There's a playlist on the Mornings in the Lab channel. Horizontal, the horizontal experience, lean back and watch. But before we do that, we're going to come up with this sound, and it sounds just this. Yeah, that's it.
Come on, baby.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
With Mind Heal. Let's get out of here, Marty. Hold on.
There we go. All right. Lifestyle tip for today. We live in a very fast-paced and many people would say stressful world. And it's very important that you learn to do this. You need to learn to respond rather than react. There's so much going on around us. There's so many people around us doing things that can frustrate us, upset us. And when we react, when someone flips us off in traffic and we react and we flip them off and honk the horn and blah, blah, blah. That's a reaction. That does not help you or your day. Learn to respond. That person flips you off in traffic and you realize he's having a bad day. I hope he has a better day tomorrow. So what you've done is you've basically kept yourself in a frame of mind that's going to keep you happy and focused for the day. I could be walking down the street and somebody might come up to me and say, "You're a dickhead." And I look at him and think, I'd say to him, "You might be right." Because what I've done is I've responded in a way that disengaged that person who was trying to get a reaction out of me. I'm not going to let that person have control over my day. And that's what this is all about. Learn to respond rather than react, and you will have much more control of the happiness in your day.
That the lifestyle tip with John Anderson. John, that's a good one, man. Consider what we're talking about today, vulnerability and leaning into things and so forth. That's a great lifestyle tip here today. Went up in the lab every single day around this time. John's dropping them for you guys. Something to think about as you go through your day. You're minute and a half. You put that Anderson tip in your head. You're going to get a good tip, a habit, something to think about. Hey, we got this guy showing up here. I got some music. There we go. AJ Zegling. What's up, bro? What's going on, AJ?
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
AJ?
Awesome. Hey, AJ Zeglin's joining us here for a brand new segment in the lab we're calling Mind Fuel. And guys, I got this music here, but I think I've used it for somebody else. So I got to get AJ some better music. I know the kind of vibe the guy. I know AJ's like a rock and roll kind of dude. So Zeglin, I'll get you better walk-in music for you for this Thursday's show. But AJ is where's my notes here? Where is AJ? AJ is a psychotherapist joining us from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I've known AJ a long time. He is the ultimate business athlete, changed my life, and he's going to join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays for a new segment we call Mind Fuel, because we know that you need protein to build your body. You need to get in the gym to build your body. But more importantly, you need your emotion in check. But most importantly, gentlemen, you need your mind in check. I know John Anderson is not getting in the gym and is not doing a deadlift to 500, 600, 700 pounds if his mind isn't in check. I know Marty Fitton's not getting in the gym under the squat rack and doing a big squat 300, 400 pounds unless his mind is in check. I know Rich Ingram is not getting out there and doing a fucking endurance run unless his mind is in check. So we got a segment, gentlemen, starting Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time with our expert in the lab, our official mental dude, AJ Zeglin, to talk about the power of the mind to help you guys achieve those biggest, most audacious goals. Zeglin, did I do a good job introducing you, pal?
You did a great job. I love the term there, mental dude. I might feel that one.
Title. He threw all the big letters and stuff behind the name. You can just call yourself the mental dude. That's just it.
Mental dude. I love it.
Good. So AJ, what do you want to say to start today, pal? Let's segment for for Business Athlete Nation, what people can expect to get out of our segment every Tuesday and Thursday. Let's let curious to let them get to know who you are and what you're hoping to teach Nation on Tuesdays and Thursdays. AJ.
For sure. Yeah. I've worked in the field of human performance for almost 20 years now. Started off in the strength and conditioning field. Obviously spending a lot of time in there, you learn pretty quickly how much there is an overlap and an integration of what's going on mentally, emotionally, physically. So what I wanted to do to be able to help people be more useful, was to be able to support them on the mental and emotional side as well. That was really my pursuit in it, right? Because what I found when we worked with athletes and people all the time is we gave them very detailed instructions of how to physically accomplish goals. So if you're an athlete, you came into the gym, here's your workout. Here's where we are in your periodization for your training. Here's what your exercises look like. Here's how to do them properly. Here's the sets, reps. Here's the percentage of your maxes that we're using, blah, 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 all very detailed, right? When we send players out onto the ice or onto the field or onto the court, there's a specific practice plan. Here's the particular drills that you're going to do. This drill is then going to carry over into a small area game drill, which then we can apply to full game situations. When we're looking at the players eating, we're like, here's your nutrition. We have a chef that prepares it for you. This is the breakdown of carbs, fats, proteins, everything that we're trying to do pre-workout, post-workout. All this thing was extremely detailed. And then we would get to the mental and emotional side, and we would give very generic cues, right? Like we'd just say to an athlete, hey man, you just got to let it go. You just got to forget about it, or be a pro, or, hey, you just got to figure it out. And people are probably sitting there thinking, hey, I'm trying to let this go. I made a mistake. I messed up. I'm trying to move on. Teach me how. And I felt like we were coming up short there. We were being very specific and intentional with all of our teaching and all the information we're giving people in every sort of class, except for the mental, emotional side. It was just filled with generic cues without any real detailed teaching, without any structure, creating structure for these athletes to have systems to be able to follow through on this stuff and learn these skills. It's a skill like anything else. So it means there's structure to it, there's steps to it. We learn them and then we practice them and we get reps and reps at it and we get more and more skilled. So when the time comes for us to use it, we're more efficient and more effective. So that was really the genesis for the whole pursuit for me getting involved in the mental side of performance. And that kind of brings me to where we are today.
Oh man, that's good. That's real good, brother. I have it's a mental exercise that I have my clients do. They're my mentoring clients. Obviously, there's just the ones that just want to do training and nutrition, but the ones that really want to evolve. And it's an exercise, it just takes a few minutes a day. You do it twice a day. It's called P3. And all it is basically, it's reprogramming the subconscious to bring it down as simple as we can. P3 will help a person see a glass half full rather than half empty. And when you're seeing challenges rather than problems, when you're seeing opportunities rather than problems, the progress you make as an athlete, as a business person, or as a person in general blows people's mind, because our brains are designed to pick out problems. That's the old software, so to speak, that doesn't serve us in today's world. So my thing is, I'm going to rewrite that or put a new software over the top of that program. So a person's not scanning the world looking for problems. They're scanning the world looking for the good shit, which then puts them in a great state of mind, which helps them move forward at a much faster capacity. And it's just a whole different drill.
Yeah, they're looking for the solutions.
Yeah.
I wanted to add in too. I know when I train my athletes or just even my little brothers and little sisters that play college, a lot of times I can help them with their issues because I went through it. And I'm thinking everything that you just mentioned, we get the coaching on the mechanical stuff, on the skill work, but we don't learn how to get through the emotional side. How important do you think it is, or how much does it help with you being a former athlete who's been in the same shoes as these people that you're coaching? How do you think that's more effective than a coach who maybe didn't play a sport? Do you think you have an edge over them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really think it could go either way. I think that it really comes down to the individual and how they use their skill set, right? And how they deliver their message. So like 99% of life, it all comes down to relationships, right? And that relationship that you're able to build with that athlete or that person that you're working with. So if I have experience as an athlete myself in a similar sport, there's a connection there right away, right? There's maybe a mutual respect. They know that I went through it at a high level, just like they're going through it at a high level. And there's an understanding and appreciation there. At the same time, I've made a big part of my living in life working in hockey. Hockey was not my sport that I played growing up. I was a football guy. I played rugby. I played basketball. I didn't play hockey. So instead of seeing that as a deficit, I tried to turn that into a strength. Again, what John was talking about there, seeing the opportunity, right? Seeing the solution in it was, hey, I might be able to bring a certain point of view that would be just outside of the box of what maybe all these guys in hockey were regularly seeing or working with, right? I'd maybe have a slightly different perspective. So if I was willing to admit that I don't know everything about hockey and I got a lot to learn, which I did very early on, and you just keep learning and learning. And then at the same time, be able to offer a unique perspective and deliver it in a way that was still constructive and helpful for people, and that they knew was coming from a place of me just trying to be useful to them and trying to help them get better, then I think it was equally effective. So I think both can be true. I think it really just depends on, as coaches, our delivery of the information, right? We could take anything and turn it from a perceived negative into a positive if we deliver it properly.
Hey, you're hanging out with AJ Zeglin, the lead psychotherapist for Invicta Psychotherapy with AJ Zeglin here. He's joining us on Mornings in the Lab. He is one of the members of the Business Athlete Performance Hub, helping you guys achieve those big goals through the power of the mind, right? We get into the gym, we lift heavy. We get into the kitchen and we build abs. Yeah, you build abs in the kitchen, guys. What?
they got to go to the gym to build abs.
Right. Go to the kitchen to build abs. And when you want to build, exactly, Marty, when you want to build the mind, you listen to guys like John Anderson and AJ Zeglin, who are teaching you things to give you guys to think about. AJ, why has it taken so long for humanity and society to catch up with this? That the power of the mind is the power that connects us to creating those abs, and the power of the mind is what connects us to creating the big muscles. Yet for so long, we've had it all ass backwards. AJ, as we're wrapping up the segment, why do you think it's taken us so long, in a minute or less? Why is it taking us so long for society to catch up to this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's just been perceptions that have been kept up over time. And one of them is that at a certain time in our development as a society and as humans, obviously we have it better now than anyone has ever had it in the history of civilization. There's a lot of negative things that still go on now, but if you compare, we have it 1 million times better than anyone else has ever had it. We come up with things as people, we have a survival instinct, right? So we come up with things that serve us in that moment. So there was plenty of moments in history where, as people, as men and as women, there had to be a certain amount of toughness that was probably portrayed to help people get through very tough times. And so I think some of that stuff served a particular purpose for those moments, for those times. And obviously, as we evolve, our times shift, the demands shift, what we need shifts, what we need to be successful shifts, what we need to function and build relationships, all that stuff, it evolves over time. You can look at a whole bunch of aspects of a society and see how they've evolved over the years. So I think this is just one of them, right? It's just following suit with the evolution of us as a species and us as a society. And it's just keeping up with the demand of the times and what are the skill sets that will help us be successful in those moments.
Awesome. Mind Fuel with AJ Zeglin, Tuesdays and Thursdays, mornings in the lab with Keith and Friends, 7:45 Central Time, 8:45 Eastern Time. We drop it Tuesdays and Thursdays. AJ is joining the conversation. If you got questions, you got comments, you got concerns about mental toughness and building that strong brain, bring them to the show on Tuesdays and Thursdays for AJ. Every single day, we're going to drop questions and comments to help you guys achieve those big ass goals. AJ, thanks for coming by today, pal. Did this work out as good for you as we were hoping it was going to work out today, brother?
Yeah, it did. It worked out great. I always appreciate the opportunity to be here. I always appreciate the opportunity to see you guys. I was able to jump on a little early and catch some of your show before I popped on this morning. And I love it. It's always entertaining, always informational. And I'm excited about being here.
Awesome. We're bringing Kristina Flynn on stage. Flinner, we got Zeglin's first segment done today. Oh, you're muted, Kristina. We got AJ's first segment coming up here. Yeah. So we got a rookie here in the lab, AJ. We're teaching her the ropes.
Oh.
No, is her audio working? No audio from Kristina.
Still
It's
can't
like
get
in
this
the
thing.
air.
There she is. There she is. You got it, kid. No, you're good.
It's
Yeah.
still down, yeah.
Come at me, Keith. Come at me.
Hey, we got our first one done with AJ. I think you did pretty good. Did we do pretty good with AJ today, Kristina?
You rocked it. You killed it. I think this is such an important conversation in so many different aspects, and I can't wait to dig into it with you.
Yes. So you can find AJ here Tuesdays and Thursdays. And AJ, where can people find you if they heard you today and they're like, oh, I want to go talk to this guy so he can help tune my brain up, Mr. Zeglin?
Yeah, you could find me on social media. I should probably do a better job with my social media. Maybe this will be a good
Yes.
for me to start. But at Invictus PFP or at AJ Zeglin.
Awesome. So you listen, just come find AJ in the lab. We'll get you sorted out with AJ. You'll come find us in the lab. Lauren's got a good comment here. Love this. Well done, AJ. Good job, brother. You go have yourself a great day. Go and kick ass and go and win the day. We'll bring you back on Thursday. AJ, love having you around here, pal. Good having you here this morning on Mornings in the Lab with AJ Zeglin.
Okay.
All right, guys. So listen, it's this time here where this happens. Yeah. I love this.
Coach Flinner.
It's Coach Flinner. Yeah.
Coach Flinner.
Look her. Yeah, she's moving forward. Her all the time. Let's get out of here, boy. Let's try to get to work. Let's let her get to work.
All right. So today we are busting 3 common personal brand myths. I hear it all the time. The things that are keeping you from building your personal brand. I've heard every one of them. Number 1, I'm not interesting enough. Number 2, it feels a little bit self-centered to me. Number 3, I'm afraid of judgment. And you know what? We all are. It's totally fine. So let's dig into those. Myth number 1, I'm really not that interesting. There's a number of reasons why we think this. A lot of them are because of neuroscience, but we won't get into that part today. What you need to know is that you don't need a wild, dramatic story. You by yourself are just enough. Your story is really just about being real, not about grabbing attention. And what you've lived through, learned, and become, those are the things that connect you to people. It doesn't have to be these big, boisterous stories. Next, it feels self-centered. Yeah, it does sometimes, because a lot of us were raised to not really talk about ourselves. And if we were bragging, it's not about bragging though. It's really just about owning your narrative and owning who you are. So if you're sharing to connect and to help and to add value, it's not being self-centered. In fact, you could look at it the other way. If you're withholding your story and your unique skills, expertise, and experiences, that's keeping others from learning from you. That could be seen as a little bit self-centered, one way to think about it. And the third one, I'm afraid of judgment. Here's the truth. And this one took me a long time to learn. People are going to judge you no matter what. Whether you stay quiet, whether you put yourself out there, someone is always going to have an opinion. And that opinion doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that you're showing up as yourself and you're doing it authentically and you're actually sharing bits of yourself and your experiences with the world. If you do that, the right people are going to connect with you in your story, and the wrong ones, right? Let them scroll on. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. So listen, I've worked with hundreds of people, and I can tell you this, the NBA players and the VCs that I worked with, their story, I know it's hard to believe, is really just as interesting as the lawyers and the roof lifters that I've worked with. So stop buying into these myths. Own your story, build a personal brand, get the benefits from building that personal brand. You have something to say and people need to hear it. And yes, it really is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you implement today's brand bite, you will too. You got this.
It's Kristina Flynn with the personal brand bite every single day at around this team. She's entering her no fucks era. I love that. She dropped the logo yesterday. She's rocking it. Kristina, what do you got going on Thursday, kid? I know you did something pretty important on Thursday. We should let Business Athlete Nation know where you're at, where you're speaking, how they might be able to find you. What's happening on Thursday, Kristina Flynn?
I'm excited. I'm actually joining one of my best friends in the whole world on stage at Elevate, which is a big tech conference here in Toronto. And she is an entrepreneur, and I am interviewing her to talk about this idea of building in public. It's something that we're doing here, which I love being able to bring those lessons and insights to that crowd too. But there's a lot of people that have a lot to say about building in public. There's some folks that are doing it one way, some folks doing it the other way. And really what it comes down to is her and I are working together, and we are relaunching our podcast to be focused on building her personal brand in public. So taking a real life case study of what does it look like from soup to nuts to take somebody who doesn't really have a personal brand. How do you follow along that journey with us behind the scenes to see what it actually takes someone to get over their fears, get over their worries, and put themselves out there like that. So that is going to be on Thursday, 2 p.m. Excited to be there. If you're in Toronto, you got to ticket to Elevate. I'd love to see you.
Awesome. You can find Kristina Flynn at Elevate if you want to hang out with her. But hey, guess what, guys? It's time to do this. And I got standing cam for this one because I know Good Time wants to see the... So next time, hey, my daughter goes to a private school and she wears a kilt, Johnny. She wears a skirt. And we were watching the show in the car a couple of days ago, and she's like, Dad, why don't you wear a kilt? I'm like, I know. You and John should put a kilt on. I'm like, I know. So Johnny, Piper is advocating for you and I, kilt on, to hang out on the show and to do some dancing and rocking and rolling, but never to reveal to Business Athlete Nation what's
And tell Piper, I'm glad that she knows I'm not putting a kilt on, and she did not put C Marty. Is C Marty and kilt in the same sentence, because she's met me personally. She know I ain't putting no kilt on. Tell her I said that.
I love it.
Let's support C Marty and Shelf.
She know that. Yeah, she know that.
I guess the question is why, Marty? Why would putting a kilt on be a no-go?
I'm just not putting a kilt on, man.
I hear you loud and clear. I'm just curious where the not coming from is coming from.
It's uncomfortable. I don't want wind in my midsection. I like my sweatpants in the house on the show. I think I'm good.
But how do you know it's uncomfortable if you haven't put a kilt on before? Have you ever worn a skirt?
Listen, I'm good, man.
Johnny, have you, it's a true story, Johnny. Let's be true here. Have you ever had a kilt on before, Johnny?
I have not. But I make my life out of doing shit that most people won't do.
Yes.
More. Here we go,
I
man.
hear you, man. I hear you. So I'm thinking that as we approach here, this what we can call the fourth quarter of the loop, that's as we get to the fourth quarter of the loop there, Marty, we might want to consider doing some things that we're uncomfortable doing with kilts on. So
John got the same philosophy for every subject we talk about.
Well, that's because
I do the hard shit nobody wants to do.
Well, see, because the philosophy applies to all areas of life. Unfortunately, most people are good in one area, but they don't apply it everywhere. You got the guy that's in shape, but his family's hurting. You got the guy that's family's great and he can't pay the bills. My thing is, I'm going to do it everywhere.
It's not fun. You're joining us. You're just signed on and I hear kill. Yes, Richie. Yeah, but counts. So we got Marty, no kilt. We got Billis, kilt. We got Richie with the kilt. We got Anderson with the kilt. And we got Kristina and Marty looking at us like some fools. So hey, Marty's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, the only show to get you guys going in the morning. And gents, we're starting a trend. We're going to get you guys out of bed. We're going to put kilts on first thing in the morning. That's going to be our trend here starting in the lab here. But listen, we got some comments that I've been not ignoring. I've been so focused on the show here for the first hour. What a great hour, you guys. What a wonderful hour we've had here. Robert Coe and Adam House and AJ Zegna just dropping bombs. But there's probably one of the most important questions in the feed that we got to ask John Anderson. Marty, I know that you've asked this guest to be patient. And I know Tina has been asking the guest to be patient. But Anderson, you do such a wonderful job dropping nuggets and tips for our business athlete nation on how to live their life with habits. You got Bacon coming in with the topic question. And I think we've got to ask the question that, Johnny, I've been thinking about having some ground beef in a bag. Let's just set the nation up here. So those who missed last week's show.
Context.
Is Bacon trolling? Is he trolling? I think he's trolling.
Well,
no, but this is perfect because listen, people can talk smack, and this tells me I'm on the right track. You know, you're gonna find some sort of flesh in a bag in my pockets often. So I have zero problem not only talking about it, I teach it.
Okay. Oh, let's set the stage, and then Marty, I'm going to come to you. Let's set the stage for Business Athlete Nation who's tuning in wondering, what the hell are they talking about? Ground beef in a bag? Kristina Flynn.
Flesh in your pocket. It's just, I don't.
Flesh in a Ziploc bag in my pocket. That's it.
So, John.
Are you just happy to see me, or is that a chicken breast in your pocket?
That's really good. That's very good. Probably, if you hold protein on the go, you put it in a plastic baggie and just carry it on you all the time. So he has been known to carry around not just almonds like average folk, but ground beef, chicken breast in his warm pocket.
Hold on, Joe.
And to go a little further, because I would rather have it in a Tupperware where I could actually pull it out, use some sort of utensil, have some drink. But the flesh in a bag in a pocket allows you to be dealing with whatever. Your hands can be filthy. You can only have one hand and you could still get the job done.
Because there's nothing wrong with putting filthy hands in greasy hamburger in your pocket. Marty,
well, the bag acts as your wrapper. That's the beauty of this whole thing. You could have dog shit on your hands and still eat that burger and not get any of that in your mouth.
Marty.
Well, so Bacon wants to know what sauces and what seasonings do you use for
He needs to listen to the video, man, because I was really clear in the video.
Pocket.
So the way to do it is to take, and I said it in the video. So you want to take the spices that float your boat, the spices you enjoy, and put it in that meat.
He wants some suggestions though. What do you do? He wants to know what John Anderson uses.
So if it's a burger, I'm gonna go heavy on the taco type style or flavors because they're potent, and I want the stuff when I'm eating out of a bag with no sauce. I want to make sure there's some flavor. If it's a chicken thigh or a chicken breast, it's going to be marinated for a few days before it's cooked. So what's in that Ziploc sack is packed with flavor.
Do you, Marty?
Hey man, do what floats your boat. I suggest get you some Tupperware and find a microwave.
Brother,
It's-
you're missing the
that's
point
all.
too. That's what I
get
recommend
it.
also. But when you don't have the ability to use a Tupperware, you don't have a microwave, your thigh warms it up for you, and you don't need a utensil, and you only need one hand to get the job done. So I agree with you, brother. This is for situations
Listen.
when you don't have your resources or the time.
I just learned here, Marty. Go ahead.
I don't want the temperature of my thigh warming up my food and put it in my mouth.
Yeah, but
I'm
brother,
walking
you're-
around. It's too. Hold on. It's too close to the jewels. It's too
But
close to
brother,
the jewels. And I'm putting that in my mouth and eating my food. I just think that's. No, it's not a good idea.
Here's the thing, brother. Unfortunately, you're surrounded by limiting beliefs, and that's one of these. This is one of them.
So John moves it to how we have to live our lives. All of us live our lives with so many limiting beliefs. So gentlemen,
Now you text my mindset. That's low, John.
you never seen it is low, Marty, because if you're having the beef in the pocket, it's hanging low, right? So it's beef next to beef, right? Keeping it warm.
Well,
So-
but here's the thing. Sorry to say, I'm not trying to attack you, Marty, because you're my boy. But what I'm trying to show here is that people shouldn't be so limited in how there's so many ways to get the job done. And in people's minds, they limit themselves in the possibilities. Like I would say, there's so many ways to skin a cat. That's the one that you always forget about.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, I am going to make sure that I get my job done, no matter what my challenges are. So does it really matter that I'm eating something out of a bag? And this is one little piece of a massive way that I live my life in terms of I will use whatever path necessary to get where I want to go, because my mind is not limited to thinking, oh, this is weird or people don't like that. I could give a shit about any of that. My thing is, am I doing what I need to do to get where I want to go? Because that's what makes me happy.
The truth of the matter is, nation, you have found a show where you're never going to find an excuse. It's true. And I'm going to take my glasses off and look you in the eyes here. You will never find an excuse on this show. Between myself and Flynn and Marty and our boss, Anderson,
unless he's telling us we're making excuses.
It's true.
That's it.
You will never, ever find a reason for an excuse on this show. This show is about achieving the greatest possibilities of your life. And I've hung out with Anderson enough, and so has Marty, and Flynn's getting used to this over the last few months here, where there's never a day or a minute that goes by where there's not a response to achieve your goals.
You know what Terry says? My wife says, look, if you walk in close enough, you're going to see that everything he does leads to the goal.
It's true. I believe it.
Man. Yes. Mine. I'm like yesterday. Terry time, the first part of Terry time, we went out to the lake and we just hung out by the lake. Right? Second part of Terry time, I was making sure she lived longer. That's go ahead.
Never mind. I was about to say something crazy.
Marty.
We're at the lake. We're chilling out, but we're basically having some relaxing time in the sun, just chilling out. And what do? I basically continue to do what I want to do, which is to work on the progression of me, my business, my mindset. So I had a book with me. I did a little reading. I worked on a little bit of stuff with business. It was like, even if I'm hanging out, catching some sun in the board shorts, hell, I'm out up to my waist in the water and I'm reading a book. It was great.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, hell yes, because it's what I want to do. Do I want to be on the beach with my love? Absolutely. But our deal is we're going to go there and we're just going to chill. We're going to decompress. We do whatever we want to decompress. I decompress with the shit that I do because I love what I do. But I'm not going to make excuses of any nature to get from point A to point B, because I know that there's always a way to get there.
That's it. No excuses here in the lab. Boys, I got Jimmy on my ass, so we got to get to the In the Gym segment here. We got people tuning in for In the Gym, the only place on the planet you guys are going to get advice from guys like John Anderson and C Marty Fit. We're gonna lean into a conversation today around first days, first weeks. Like, what's it like to get started? Some of you are tuning in today going, I want to get started, but I'm going to go next week. I want to get started. I'm going to start on Monday. John, fuck that. Get started today. What are you waiting for? So we're going to talk a little, the next 10 minutes, we're going to talk about what's the first day look like? What's some of the first things you're going to do in the gym? But before we do that, for those of you that are wondering, if you have a wife or a partner and you want her to live longer, you got to have more sex with her. They're showing that women who have more sex than not live longer. So as Johnny said, man, Terry time, wife time, partner time, make time for your partner so she can live longer. All right, Kristina and I are going to get out of here. John and Marty come up within the gym, and then we're going to come back. John and Marty are going to make their way out of the show here. We're going to do Community Corner, and then we're going to wrap the show up with branding and business and branding with Keith and Kristina coming up at 9:45 Eastern time. Okay, Tina, let's get out of here. Let's let boys get into the gym and get at it. I'm going to go for a restroom break, actually. I'll see you guys shortly.
All right, John.
All right, my brother. What we got?
We got people watching the show. And me and you, we're seasoned vets in the gym. Not Keith though, but me and you are seasoned vets in the gym. We got people watching the show and they don't know what it's going to be like. They think it's going to be awkward. They think that they might be a little scared, a little nervous. So what should they expect and how can they progress with that?
There's so many different ways to look at that. If you're trying to protect the fact that you're going to feel a little bit weird, just think that you feel a little weird the first time you do anything. So try to just put that aside and just put some effort to get in there. What do you do when you're a beginner and you get over that? Oh my God, I'm here. What do you do? I think that's a big question too. How do you start? Is it obviously you got to start to get in there and then you got to start to actually do some exercise. So when it comes down to it, if you don't have some sort of direction, you're just going to have to, I guess when it comes down to it, you're going to have to look at your body as like pieces. You can look at it like upper body and lower body. And a person that doesn't know what to do, they can say, okay, today I'm going to do lower. Then tomorrow I'm going to do upper, and then they go back to lower, just go back and forth. And to make it really simple, just train the areas that are not sore. Because when you're starting off, all we really want you to do is get over that fear of taking the first step to get in there. And then second step, getting in there, putting in a little work and having some simple guidance to put in some work and feel like you've got the confidence to want to go back tomorrow. What do you think, Martin?
No, absolutely. I think something else, you hit some great points. I think something else people should think about is whoever it is you emulate or want to be like, they felt that way in the gym too. They had that awkward day where they struggled or they were nervous. I've seen it with clients, people that have been with me for years. I remember when they first started and look at them now. So that's one thing. You're not the only one in that situation. So remember, you're not always by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then going in there, we got over the first step of getting in there, just realizing, hey, it's awkward doing anything for the first time. So the gym's no different. It's okay. Everybody feels it. Get in there. Okay, now we know that we're going to do upper body one day, lower body the next day. So the next thing you can do is just stick with the machines because the machines are going to be really safe.
Yep.
They're also going to give you a little diagram of what muscle you're working if you really don't understand.
Yep.
The next thing is how much work do you put in? Simple, straightforward 3 sets of 10 of every machine you do for each muscle. And the max you're going to want to do is going to be 3 exercises per muscle. But if you're doing upper body, the whole upper body, you might get away with 3 sets per muscle and still get a great workout. Again, don't look at this as some ultra detailed, specific venture that if you don't do it just right, it's not going to work. If you're going from wanting to get in there to getting in there, this stuff we're talking about is going to make a massive difference for you.
And I think for even some people, a lot of people they're nervous about weights. For some people, if you just get there and just walk on the treadmill to start, if you start with that, at some point you're going to want to touch the weights. After the end of there, you're going to see all these people doing different routines. You're going to see their results. You're going to see their bodies. And it's like the weights are a magnet. It's going to attract you and bring you over there. Even if you just got to start on the treadmill, don't be scared to do that and figure it out from there.
And that's a great point, brother. And just so everybody understands, literally what happens behind the scenes with what Marty just said is as you start moving, treadmill, some sort of cardio piece of equipment, your blood flows. The expensive word is you just change your physiology, but really what that means is you just got some blood flow. But when you change your physiology or you get blood flow, your brain is going to release positive chemistry into your bloodstream that's going to tell you, boy, this is good. I want to do some more. And that right there is what Marty's talking about. When all of a sudden those weights, they look pretty sweet. You walk in there and they look like they were sour looking as hell. It was like a lemon in your mouth. All of a sudden 15 minutes of cardio. You're like, shit, that thing looks like a hot fudge sundae. Let's go.
Exactly.
So don't rush it. Just get in there, get moving, and let the brain take over. And again, the main thing is don't overcomplicate it. The most important thing is take the first step, get in there. Obviously, we've given you some really simple, straightforward stuff to get moving. And literally, if you were to do this 4 days a week, upper twice, lower twice, you could go Monday, upper body, Tuesday, lower body. You could take Wednesday off if you needed to. Then you could go back and do Thursday upper, Friday lower, and just rotate like that. But if you're really hot and bothered, go on Wednesday and do some cardio. But keep in mind, you don't have to go to the gym to be active. Go for a walk. Shit, man. Go outside. If it's piss pouring rain, I get it. Go to the gym. But be active. And the more you're active, the easier this is going to get.
And another thing too, when you're a beginner, especially if you didn't play sports, you're not going to understand the intensity part. You got to put your body under some intensity. You got to get uncomfortable, and you got to really push yourself. A lot of people, maybe if they didn't play sports, they don't understand that. And it's okay if you're sore. It's part of the game. It's not something abnormal. I had someone come to me like, I can't come back. I'm sore after the first day. I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to be sore. Even if you take a day off in between, you're still probably going to be sore. This is your body doing something new. And whatever you put your body through, your body's going to adjust to it. And as you move on, as you progress, as you get better, you're not going to be as sore every time. You're not going to feel like that first day every time, unless you keep starting and stopping over. But that's another topic for another day.
100%. And the idea that you're getting sore, embrace that. You're always going to have some, in the beginning, the soreness is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. But when you get a little sore, it tells you got something done. And as you get deeper into this, a barometer of your success or you feeling like you did is going to be to get a little bit sore. So just remember, it's something that right now it might feel uncomfortable, but it won't be long before that's going to be it's going to be part of your gauge of success of did you get the job done. So I think if you just take all of this and just distill it, boil it down, simplify it, all we're really promoting you to do is to get over that first step, get in the gym, use some very simple methodologies to get moving. And once you get moving, now you're in the game. And when you're in the game, you're going to get better. And as you get better, you're going to reach your goals. And it's just going to turn into this kind of a positive vortex. But one thing I can promise you is this. If you're sitting there saying, oh, I'm going to start tomorrow, guess what? You're going to wake up at the end of the year, setting a New Year's resolution, can say, I'm going to go back, I'm going to get to the gym. And why? Because you were going to wait till tomorrow for that many days where it already looped back around, a whole new year starting, all because you were going to start tomorrow. So don't start tomorrow, start today.
In the Gym with John and Marty here, the only show that gets you guys in the gym with these guys for 13, 14 minutes every single day with advice and expertise and experience you're not going to get anywhere else. Boys, I got a question for you guys. So I'm a newbie. I'm looking at selecting my first gym. Marty, John, am I looking for a boutique gym? Perhaps, John, like something that you owned? Am I looking for a big commercial gym? Am I going to Planet Fitness, Marty, where they're selling burgers on the side and poutine on the side in the kitchen? Help me as a newbie, boys.
Yep.
Find a new gym, and what am I looking for? John, you first, pal.
Yeah, if you're a newbie, what you're looking for is a gym that's either close to your home, close to your work, or both. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to pick this gym, it's so great, I'm going to use all this great equipment, and that fucker, excuse my language, that son of a bitch is 45 minutes away, guess what? You just created a 45-minute barrier of entry that you have to deal with every day. If that sucker's like walking distance from work or just a few minutes in a car ride, you create that barrier of entry. You keep that barrier of entry very low. And as a beginner, that is your key. Keep the barrier of entry as low as possible.
Yeah. Marty?
I feel the same way, John. You go to one that's convenient.
Yes.
Now, if you have the luxury of having 3 different types of gyms around you that are at a convenient distance, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Go to the hardcore gym. Go to the gym that makes you feel uncomfortable. Don't go, and I'm nothing against Planet Fitness. If anybody in here goes to Planet Fitness, don't go to the Planet Fitness as a beginner. Go to the one where you see girls and guys in there getting after it, going crazy, because now you're going to open your eyes to a whole nother world and see what's capable, what's possible. Even if you're not lifting the same weight as them, not doing the same cardio as them, but go somewhere where you are going to get a little bit uncomfortable, because let's be real. Comfortable got you to lead yourself to say, hey, I need to go to the gym. So why you want to go somewhere where it's going to keep you in that state of
Yeah.
mind?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good. That's so good. Yeah, being comfortable is exactly why you're in this predicament to start.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Marty, I got to say one thing since we met John. I think Marty, I believe I can speak for you on this one. But Marty, since we met John, I got to tell you one thing I'm really struck by every single day we talk with him and we learn from John Anderson, the power of simplicity, right? Because you look at John and you look at John, you see his achievements, right? He's been on the world stage and Marty, we can sit back and idolize the man. He's accomplished some pretty significant things in the athletic arena. Most men that are tuning into the show think it's complex, Marty. Oh, I got to do this. 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 But time and time again, Chris, we hear from John. He just drops the simplest fucking things, Marty. Like he's like,
Super simple.
right. And I'm saying that, and I'm purposely talking in front of John's back, not behind him, because I'm learning every single day, like our nation is, Marty. I know you are too, because I've been trying to find success in the gym my whole life. And I'm speaking for guys tuning into the show. And I know, Marty, you're a successful trainer, guys coming to you. And he just constantly reminds us of the simplicity of things, eh? Find the beef, find the egg in the kitchen, find the fucking closest gym. You don't got to go to the gym, do some push-ups, go do a burpee. Like Marty, when you hear John talk normally, like play with me here a little bit for a quick second, but it's just simple, isn't it, Marty? It really is.
Yeah, it's simple, man. Simple is the way. And you're not going to know simple is the way unless you hear someone like John,
Yes.
who's been successful, tell you that it's simple. You know, and it's great because it gives you some hope. It gives you a vision. So it's great. So we definitely appreciate you, John.
Yeah. So Marty, if I can play with John for a quick second here. I was a dumb fat son of a bitch, can't go right here from my whole life. So that's why it's simple for me. So, but John, I love it, man, because every single day you drop nuggets that I'll be honest with you, pal, that you take for granted because you lived your life this way. But for those that are listening, you give us things to go, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I could just do this right now. Here's an example. Just a quick one for me. I finished in the gym here today at 6:15. And I said to myself, okay, I want to be in the lab by 6:30. And I had a 15-minute window and I had a few things to do. And I could have fucked around, Johnny. I was like, no, wait a minute. I can squeeze in 10 minutes of a stretch right now because I can. Instead of fucking around and wasting my time. So I did it. I used a simple approach. I said, okay, I'm going to do it right now. I didn't dick around. I didn't walk over there for 2 seconds. I didn't walk over there for a minute. I just looked at the clock and I went, boom, I'm doing this right now. And next thing you know, 10 minutes later, John, I was done with that approach. But you know why? Because I thought of you. Because I was looking at the clock going, okay, fuck, I'm just going to do it right now because Anderson, no, just do it right fucking now. We just do it. You know what I mean, Johnny?
Yeah. And the thing about it is, once you get aligned with your purpose, man, that clock, it goes fast. That son of a bitch is moving. It's keeping things simple, keeping things, I guess you'd say, in vision to where you're not losing perspectives. It is such an important, for me, it's such an important part of my formula for success in all areas of my life. I don't just simplify it in training and nutrition. I simplify it in business. I simplify it everywhere. And for me, when things are at the most distilled, most simple format, when all of the layers are peeled back and you can see it in its the true simple format, that's when my problem skills are going to thrive.
Yeah, I believe it.
Something that's not broken down, that's not torn apart, so you can't see it all. For me, that's not a formula for my success. And so the crazy part is I challenged little dumb son of a bitch, or didn't have a bunch of great genetics. And so the way that I figured out how to do what I do, the crazy thing is it's extremely applicable to anybody else that wants to learn how to do it.
And that was my
purpose in life is to help people get what they want through a different perspective. Because it's like the world clutters our minds. Yeah. And when you can basically pull it back, when you can slow it down, when you can simplify it, you start to see things much more clearly.
Yes. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, C Marty Fitz, producer Kristina Flynn here in the last segment of the show here. We just wrapped up in the gym. Some great stuff, guys. If you're looking to get started in the gym, I would invite you to go back, listen to the In the Gym segment with John and Marty, give you some tips to get rocking and rolling. And we're always giving nuggets for you guys to help you through your day. But this time, hey boys, I know Johnny's I think he's got a restroom break coming up here. We're working towards the end of the show here. We're going to lean into the community corner segment now for the next 10 minutes. And then in 10 minutes from now, we are going to get started with the last segment of the show, which is business and branding. But let's quickly go around the table before we say goodbye to John and Marty. Boys, great show today. Lots of energy. We had Robert, we had Adam, we had AJ. We talked about the drone stuff to kick things off. Marty, coming to you first, pal. What was the highlight of the show for you today, brother, before we walk you out here today, pal? What was the highlight for you?
I had 2 highlights. I think we had actually 3 highlights because everybody was great. But I think with Robert, it was great to have that discussion about entrepreneurship and putting our opinion on the table. I think with House, Mr. Bricks, I think that was great, just talking about vulnerability, hearing someone successful like himself share his point of view. And then with AJ, when he made the reference to athletes and giving them a different angle to deal with the emotional side opposed to the mechanics and the skill side, I think it was all great, man. Great show.
Yeah, it was a really great show. What about you, John? What did you take from the show today, brother?
I just really enjoy the fact that we're taking a lot of, I guess you say a lot of topics, a lot of stuff, whatever you want to call it, that needs to be put on the table for people to start to understand a little better, soak up and apply to their lives. And I just felt like today was pretty chock full of helpful shit.
It wasn't, Johnny. There was a lot of help. There's just nugget after nugget. Every guest coming in was giving stuff. This is one of the best shows I think since we started this whole show, man. This is a lot of my vision of the show, like bringing people in, dropping nuggets left and right, and just going from one segment to the other. Boom. And Flynn, what did you take from today's show? Kristina?
2 things. I think the first one, I love the segments with Robert. I think that idea of vilifying employment versus entrepreneurship. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. And everyone has a different path. I think oftentimes in employment, we think about, I'm going back. Marty said it. There's ways I would have done entrepreneurship differently. And even now, there's ways in which the reason why I'm aligned with the show. Sometimes you got to get a job, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not an entrepreneur. Sometimes you got to get a job. The second, and my favorite thing that happened in the show, was John said, he was about to say fucking. And he said fucking. He said, excuse my language. He says, the son of a bitch is how he corrected his language. He didn't say fucking. He then corrected it with son of a bitch. That was my favorite.
Yeah, that was
very.
It was just like just a half a skosh step down. I don't know why I did that, but I just felt like for some reason using that foul language at that to drive that point home, it just didn't fit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Son of a bitch was like, yeah, it definitely felt better to me. Kristina, what did you say? I missed that.
I said, be authentically you. Do you, Don?
I don't know how to do it any other way, man. I don't know how to. If you don't like me, that's fine. Just go over there.
That's right. That's right. I love all of you guys. Today, my favorite part of the show is the whole show. I felt a little more organized today. My new setup was a little better today. I thought we had a great flow, great show. The whole show was great. Everybody was great. And what's funny is that I woke up this morning to a message from one of our awesome participants in the comments and who's tunes in every single day. Shinku's, can you guys make the show a tad longer? So he said it to me earlier this morning. Now he's coming into the show saying, we make it longer. Shinku, we're working on it. You want a job? You want to come work with us and come have an hour? You can come have an hour on the show here, but we're working on it, Shinku. I'm telling you, man, if you think this is a show, you're wrong. We're building a platform. We started at 55 minutes. We went to 75 minutes, went to 90 minutes. We're at 120 minutes. Trust me, you stick around for a long time, you're seeing Ted Turner in front of you. You're going to see a big, massive platform one day and go, holy fuck, I've been around since day one. Oh yeah, you have been. So we're going to leave that there. We're going to walk John and Marty out of the lab. But before we do that, John, I got something here that I want to bring on the table for conversation coming up here, whether this week or next week, but I'm looking at you, brother. Scientists recently studied the body of one of the world's strongest men. This is what they found. And
Who was it?
Yeah, they studied, because you know the fellow.
If he's alive, yes, I do.
He is alive. Yes, I got to find his name here. It's Eddie Hall.
Oh yeah, savage, man.
So
the first guy to deadlift over 1,100 pounds. That's right, you heard me correct. 11.
That's crazy, bro.
So what I want to do, Nation, is I want to take this article. I want to digest it because y'all don't know. We haven't, and I'm going to say this. John's going to dismiss it, but we have one of the world's. You're not going to find this conversation anywhere on the planet. So coming up this week or next, we're going to dig into this topic because they dug into the science of it, Johnny. They dug into his ligaments and his muscles and how his body is actually like different genetically than other people. Yes.
I understand.
I was fascinated by it. And I was like, and then I had to get in. Holy fuck, man. Marty, we got a guy in the lab who can talk about this with us.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, this is a good episode, Kristina. There's people that are going to want to learn about this one because this is, there's good shit here. There's really good shit in the articles. We'll talk about it, Johnny, coming up in the coming weeks here in the lab. But you guys get after it. Kristina and I are going to celebrate somebody here. We got a good time saying, you're doing great work. Week 5 for you, waking up every morning. Oh, that is awesome.
Word. No, baby. Let's go.
I love that. That good time, that makes you so happy, man, because those mornings when we're waking up or those days when we're grinding through this, yeah, I'll use the word. I think it was somebody like yourself because we need you, you need us, we need this together because we can't do this show if people aren't tuning in. It's true because we are going to this is a business, right? So if people aren't tuning in, we don't have a business here. So I thank you. I'm appreciative. And I know John and Marty and Kristina are because you have a lot of choices. And Real Deal Prime, I see you as well. Bacon, everybody joining us in the comments today. Shinku, appreciate that. Hanging out with us here this morning. All right, John, Marty, you guys are going to rock and roll out of here. Me and Kristina are going to celebrate somebody for Community Corner. Then we're going to come back with business and branding, and then we're going to get off for the day. All right?
All right.
Guys.
Bye, y'all.
Good job,
See
y'all.
you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
It's a tomorrow. All right. Okay. Marty's out of here. Johnny's out of here. Kristina, we're going to keep going here with our creator spotlight in the Community Corner. And I took that segment a little bit longer because I have good things to talk about. I thought we'd just have a little further conversation about that. But let's pivot to the Community Corner, the creator spotlight. I do have somebody in Substack today we can talk about, but I think we're running out of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to lean into the LinkedIn creator spotlight today. And then as we keep getting better organized, I'm learning from you, get 1% better every single day. Because yesterday, Tina, I was like, okay, I got to get these 6 things done for this show today. And then I thought, fuck, I'm not going to get 6 of them done. I got 1 done. And it worked really well today. So
And
today, I know.
Keeper, you worked on your button word. You worked. You.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes. So today I'm going to do 5 things, Kristina. No, you're not, Keith. You're going to do 1 more thing today.
Just pick one.
Just pick one. Yes. Okay. Listen, let's go
One thing, and I'll get you to only do one.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now. The one thing we're going to do right now, producer Jimmy, is we are going to celebrate somebody over on LinkedIn. I like this segment of the show because I like surprising them later on in the morning and they see the stuff on LinkedIn. Oh my God, they're celebrating us. Oh yeah, we're celebrating you. So let's do this, Kristina. I'm going to pull up my notes and I'm not going to go to do. No, not right now. But I get shit nation all the time. Shinku, if you're still here, you can hang out with us here. Shinku, you should come on the show, actually. Why don't you come as a guest sometime? Come do center stage and we'll come get to know you. Come get to know you. I don't know where you live. We don't know where you're from. If you haven't followed me on LinkedIn, please follow me on LinkedIn. That's our source of truth. So come follow us on LinkedIn. Come find Kristina Flynn. But okay, so today's Creator Spotlight is a community-led growth expert, Kristina Flynn, partnering with fast-moving B2B teams to drive growth through community, content, and experiential events. An investor in resilient founders. Little trick there. She invests $25,000 checks. Oh, that's cool. $25,000 checks in pre-seed startups focused on community, productivity, and connectivity. She's a founder and go-to-market strategist, a G-team strategist, specializing in go-to-market strategies that turn customer obsession into measurable ROI. She's got nearly a decade of experience. She's been leading community-driven growth strategies for almost 10 years. I'm going to throw it to you for the why we're highlighting, but today's Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight for Tuesday, October 1st with Keith and Kristina Flynn is, and a drum roll, please, we have Janine Suah. Janine Suah is our Creator Spotlight today here in the lab. And Kristina, why are we shining this Mornings in the Lab light on Janine Suah today? Kristina.
So Janine is a fucking powerhouse.
I love that.
Inspires me daily. She talks about ADHD. She gives facts and figures on how to manage your life with ADHD and how to do it really productively. What I love most about Janine, 1, she's got this infectious personality, but 2, little story for you. My first ever title when I was working in the MBA had community in it. And I begged and begged for community to be taken out of that title. And there was one reason, was because that title with community in it was not respected because it wasn't seen as a revenue generating arm of the business. What I love about what Janine is doing is that she's showing that community very much so has an ROI, aligned with content, align with strategy and go to market and all of her expertise and experiences, there is a very direct ROI on community. And she's teaching folks how to do that, her perspective on it. And she's putting her money where her mouth is, right? 25 paychecks for pre-seed that are focused in the area, and B2B. A lot of people, when they're starting their business, and Keith, you know this, it's sexy to go B2C. It really is. But if you've ever tried to build a B2C product, we're doing it right now. It's not easy. B2B is often a great way to get your feet wet as an entrepreneur. Again, there's challenges to both sides, but I think the insights and the information that Janine is providing and how she's educating folks that are interested in B2B, focused on community-led growth and content, it's second to none, quite frankly. That post that you're showing there is a perfect example of just nuggets of information. Janine is a powerhouse. She's someone you want to know. She's someone that you want to follow. And I can't say anything more about, just click the follow button and connect with her. She's a badass.
Awesome. Janine Suah, we would love to celebrate you here in the lab. You come hang out with us and come bring your check. Yeah. Come bring your checkbook and invest in our show, Janine. There you go. And you know what we can do? We're going to turn your check and we're going to reinvest it into your LinkedIn profile so we can create a wonderful banner for you and we could up the level. But Kristina, I got to tell you, man, for a person with no banner, with it seems like a limited presence, she got 24,000. I know, right? 24,000 people.
Janine's doing just fucking fine.
Well, I was just going to say,
her. Banner or not, she doesn't even need a banner.
I was just clearly doing something right, Janine. You are awesome. I appreciate you. I've loved getting to know you through this Creator Spotlight segment. And like I said, you are welcome to join us. We would love to have you here on the show to learn about you and come celebrate somebody who you would like to nominate for the Creator Spotlight. All right, Kristina, that's that. Our Creator Spotlight Community Corner today. We would normally do more on this segment, but today we're going to keep moving on. We're going to go to Business and Branding with Keith and Kristina. And at this point, I'm going to go to the seated camera because I got my button sorted out here, Kristina. So I'm going to do the seated camera, sitting camera. There we go. Yeah. And I'm going to have a seat and I'm going to get all official here. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take the sunglasses off and get all official. I'm going to look at my camera then. We're going to have a good chat about business and branding. The segment on the show where we talk about business. We talk about branding. I'm apparently a business expert. Apparently Kristina's a branding expert. And we're going to give you guys nuggets, just like John and Marty did on the gym. So where do you want to start today, Kristina?
How do you feel about that term, expert? I think that's such an interesting term that not everyone is comfortable with. So let's start with that. And then I'm Barbara Walters here, y'all. They have let me loose, they being myself, I produce yourself. They have let me loose, and I'm going to interview you so people can get to know you. But first, let's start with that. How do you feel about that term, expert?
Yeah, I think it's an overused term, expert, but as cliche as it is, it obviously has value, right? Because it's probably the cleanest word to define who you are and what you are. So if you're an expert in something, it's a very intentional word. So whether somebody's labeling you an expert or you're accepting that word yourself, if you're using it with intention, I think it's quite powerful, Kristina, because I'm saying I'm an expert in this. And I think if I can lean into what we talked about earlier, if I'm an expert, I also believe that I have the confidence to tell you I don't know. Because if I don't know, I think it adds value to my expertise. Do you follow me?
Yeah. So let's talk not about what you don't know. Let's talk a little bit about what you do know. But first, I want to set some context. We talk about this all the time on the show. You are a business expert. And a lot of people are like, Keith, he's a host of a radio show. One, we're not a radio show. Two, you're so much more than a host. So I want to get into that and I want to dig into that for our list. And I want to contextualize what makes you a business expert. But I'm going to start from a little bit of the beginning because you did a lot of things before you got to actually being an entrepreneur. So start the journey from what your first real job and bring me, I know we don't have a ton of time, but bring me a bit of a journey of some of the different types of jobs that you did before entrepreneurship. And then we'll dig into that.
Great question, Kristina. First job that I had a big impact on my life was I worked in a grocery store for 7 years. And the owner, pardon me?
What were you doing?
I did everything actually. I worked on the floor. I stocked shelves. I worked in the dairy. I worked in the bread department. I worked in the deli. I made ground beef. I made steaks. I cut steaks. I actually did everything that has to happen in a grocery store. But I learned What I learned the most from that experience, Kristina, was it was an independent grocery store owned by a single operator. It was a family-owned business. I saw that man show up. I saw that man, Jim Gaynor, love Jim. He taught me a lot as a businessman. When he showed up at work, Kristina, he didn't park in the first stall next to the store. He parked in the furthest stall, the furthest stall at the furthest parking lot. Why? So all of his customers had the right stalls. Right. So he just taught me these principles. I'll never forget one day I got shit from him because I was sneaking out of work a little early. Not sneaking, but I was going, okay, I worked a 9-hour shift. I didn't take lunch today, so I'm just going to leave a little bit early. I think, okay, I put my time in. One day I get a knock. He's like, Keith, I need you to come talk to me. Like, yeah, you're stealing from me. I'm like, no, I'm not actually. I'm putting my time in. He goes, no, you're leaving early. I'm like, no, I'm putting my time in. But he made it very clear to me that he thought that I was stealing from him because while I was not taking my lunch, I was leaving early. To him, that wasn't the right approach. Like, come talk to me, come communicate with me, come and be it. So he taught me about communication. He taught me about being honest. He taught me about respectability. He taught me about hard work ethic. He taught me about being humble. Kristina, it was Selkirk, Manitoba, a city of what, 15,000 people. It was a large independent grocery store. He lived in a very modest home, drove a very modest vehicle. He had everything because he did quite well, but he taught me about modesty and humility. So I went from that. I worked my way into working in a hotel. I worked for a hotel here in Winnipeg for a number of years as well, where I learned sales and I learned computers and I learned how to communicate effectively. I learned how to convince people to buy things from me.
Wait, tell me, what were you selling? Because a lot of people could think hotel, sales, computers are the 3 words that you just used, and that doesn't make sense to people. Give people context of what were you actually selling? It's
funny because when you and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, I said to you, when I first started at the hotel, Kristina, I was selling business zone rooms. And you're thinking, what the hell is that? Rooms that we take for granted today. Yes, listen, nation. Rooms that didn't have computers, rooms that you could actually buy like this rolling table. It put a computer in your room. It put a, John Anderson, a fax machine in your room. It put internet in your room. So all these things that we take for granted, a business person would come to the desk and I'd say, hey, do you want to buy a business zone room? What's that? I'm like, oh, you get a computer in your room. You get a fax machine in your room. You get internet in your room. And it was new. It was like the 1700s. And I realized that I became good at that. I became good at asking the right questions. I became good at convincing people they needed a computer. But Kristina, I didn't know how to use the computer at the time. So I had a friend say to me, hey, I can teach you how to use Microsoft Word. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. If I can learn Microsoft Word and I can learn these Microsoft tools, I can then perhaps convince Tina when she comes to the hotel to buy these new rooms from me. And every time we sold a room, I got an extra $15. So I learned early, Kristina, that I was good at communicating. I was good at convincing you to buy the room. And then I learned how to love money. I was like, oh, fuck, every time I sell me like $15. Right. So the experience in the grocery store, then the experience in the hotel taught me a lot about communication, taught me a lot about how to convince people, really. So that's what I did at the hotel, was selling business rooms.
Yeah. And like convince, that's an interesting thing when we talk about business, because I think we think that business is convincing people. And I think I actually know that you actually don't believe that. You don't believe in convincing people. You believe in providing a value based on what you know about people and on the same way. And if it works for them and it provides that value for them, and if it doesn't, but there are a bunch of people over here that it does provide the value, then cool, we're not for you. But if there's a bunch of people over here that aren't really seeing the value that we think is intrinsically there, that's on us. We need to figure out how to make changes so that it actually provides that value.
I'm glad you said that too, Kristina, because let's keep the conversation going around business. When people say to me, I don't want to buy it because it's too expensive, then you clearly haven't provided enough value. Right. And I know that's so cliche because it's not about convincing somebody that's not expensive. Hey, Robert Coe was shaking my sales brother. It's not about convincing somebody. You just haven't. So again, continuing my journey, I went from the hotel to Xerox. So back in the day, Kristina, the ultimate.
Xerox, for people that don't know, what is Xerox?
Yeah. Selling fax machines and photocopiers and fax machines and office equipment. Right. But back in the day, Kristina, Xerox was the epitome of the ultimate sales organization. Right. So again, if we had Robert Coe on the line here, he'd be like, yeah. So when you were back in the 1980s and 70s and 90s, it was like, if you could get a job at Xerox, they taught you how to sell. And so I learned a lot from that experience of selling. And I learned very quickly, Kristina, it had nothing to do what the cost of the product was. It had everything to do with the value of what you needed as a consumer, as a buyer, And if I can answer your problems and solve your problems and give you the solution, you would buy from me. It had nothing to do with convincing you. It had everything to do with asking a lot of questions, understanding the value, and really not talking about price at all. Kristina.
That's like a lot of people don't realize that. And it took me a long time to realize that. Especially when you're passionate about what you're doing and what you're selling, you think you need to talk. You think you need to describe. You think you need to just show them, no, this is the way it's going to work. In actuality, the best salespeople talk very little. In fact, they do a lot of asking of questions and they do a lot of listening to see if what they have can be aligned with the challenges or the solutions that their customers have. What do you think about that? Is that kind of your approach as well?
I do. And as we wrap up this segment, I think I would leave a nugget on the table for our audience, Kristina. The greatest thing I've learned in the last 12 months has been starting this live show. And some would say, let's call it a podcast. So whether it's a podcast or a show, it has taught me how to listen. It has taught me how to listen more effectively than ever. And what tends to happen after talking with somebody for 45 minutes or to an hour, let me rephrase that. You know what happens after listening to somebody for 45 minutes or to an hour and having them talk about themselves and having them talk about their problems and having them talk about trying to uncover solutions? When you are an exceptional listener, the trust that human builds in you, they're ready to eat out of your hand. When you're done having that listening conversation where you've been listening, and then you say, Kristina, I've heard everything you said. I wonder if there's something we can help you on. Immediately the person's, oh, yeah, tell me more. So that's one thing I can offer anybody. If you're struggling with sales by talking too much, start a podcast. And I'm serious. Or start a live show, but start an experience where you're forced to listen to the person, because you're going to gain a lot of experience on teaching you how to sell. Kristina.
You did it with me when we first met the very first time. You asked me, you said, tell me something about yourself that I can't find on the internet and nobody else knows. And so you use that as a jumping off point to get me to talk about myself. And then I'm talking about myself more. And I took for a while. Like I gave you the origin story. I gave you the journey. And when I finished, I'm ready for you to go into the details that I shared. And the first thing that you said to me was, so people call you Tina. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I didn't even realize I had said it, but you heard in the one thing that I had said that, wait, I know you as Kristina, you just mentioned somebody calling you Tina. And it like threw me right off because one, I'm not used to that. And two, like, I don't have a lot of thoughts on Kristina or Tina or whatever it is, but it was something so simple. And it proved to me in that moment, holy fuck, you listen. Because I just talked for a long time. And you picked that out and then you brought it back to me. So I think it's little things like that. It doesn't take much to show somebody that you're listening. Repeating something back to them that they have said to you makes them trust you a little bit more. Do it again. Do it again. You meet with somebody one day, you see something that you're like, oh shit, they were talking about that. That might be interesting to them. Send them the resource, send them the link. Little things like that make people know that you're thinking about them, which they love, and give people value, give people resources so that when you're coming to them for something else, you're not asking for the first time. You're saying, I know you and I know what I have to offer. So I know that this will actually help you and you can be much more confident in presenting it.
Yes. And that's hard, Kristina. It's hard for people to do because we all want to talk, right? we're like, I got something to say. I'm really happy with my product. I want to sell it to you. No, actually listen. And then when the door opens, and then after you've sold it to them, then talk about the product, because then all the work is done. But man, it's hard, Kristina. I have never been, that's why I'm offering to Nation here that if I can leave you a nugget is start a conversation, be it a podcast or be it a show. And again, Kristina, what I learned from that experience was it was as much the technical experience, because somebody said to me, Keith, when you're cutting the show up after, if you're talking over the other person and not listening, we can't make good content later.
Yeah.
So it's that whole experience of listen. That's the nugget we want to leave you with here today. But Kristina, we've done it. We've hit our branding and business segment is done again today. We've got one in the bank yesterday. We got one in the bank today. We're going to do this every single day. And Business Athlete Nation, there's a podcast of this experience on YouTube. It's going to make its way over to Apple and Spotify and everywhere else. But right now, we got a podcast on YouTube, which is Business and Branding with Keith and Kristina. If you've missed the live show every single day, We got 12 to 14 minutes of nuggets to help you guys achieve success in business and achieve success in branding. Kristina, it's fun today.
It was fun. Listen, I want people to know also that we're not just talking about these things. These things that we're saying have come from real experiences.
Yes.
We've done some shit, and there's a lot more that we all have to learn about what Keith has done here too. But we've done some shit, and with that, we think that we can lend you some advice and some tips that might help you on your way. If you can learn a lesson from a mistake that I've made, and you don't have to make that mistake yourself, or you can just do it a little bit sooner than I did, that's my job done.
That's it. That's exactly it. So we're going to wrap the show up. I know it was a short little segment. We're going to keep getting better at this. And it's funny because I'm going to tease my friend Kristina here. When we started this thing, I know Kristina likes to have things prepared. I'm like, we'll figure it out. And I'm certainly after the show, I didn't get much out of you today. That's okay. We got 12 minutes in. I'm going to get 12 minutes tomorrow. Okay.
Tell me, if all we get is story, the way that people connect to story is an entirely different vibe.
Yes.
So
Very true. Good. Awesome. I had a great show. This is a great segment. We invite you guys back. Like I said, this is we do this every single day at 9:47 Eastern time or so. Business and branding with Keith and Kristina. And then, of course, it's a podcast as well that lives on YouTube and all the other platforms. You guys can take it with you on the go. But we're going to get at it. We're going to get on with our day. He's got an awesome big Thursday. Just prepare for. She's going to get to. I got we got post-production to happen here now. But we're going to see you guys back. Shinku, we went longer, man. We're already 3 minutes over time here, Shinku. So I love you, brother. And Shinku's from LA. So we're going to get Shinku in the second segment, Kristina. So Shinku doesn't have to get up too early. Good time saying thank you. Awesome. Appreciate you. Good time. Thanks for tuning in every single day. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time with Keith, Kristina, John Anderson, and C Marty Fitton. Kristina, we got Rich Ingham tomorrow joining the show, and Robbie Brighton is supposed to join us as well. One of Rich's colleagues, friends, coaches, intense endurance athlete. We're talking endurance tomorrow, morning in the lab. Let's get out of here, Tina. We'll see you guys.